No tree too tall, no job too small. Lim Walker Tree Service, 725-203-6660. The long-awaited sentencing hearing was held Monday in the 5th Judicial District Court for convicted child abuser Vicki Lynn Bockley. Judge Robert Lane heard arguments from both sides concerning the plea negotiations that have been discussed in this case. Public Defender Ronnie Boscovich represented Bockley, who has spent over 900 days behind bars for her part in the sexual assault and child abuse of 4 children in her home. It all began, according to court records and the Nye County Sheriff's Office, in January 2020 when a local doctor reported to the Department of Child and Family Services that 4 children within a home on Pahrump South Side stated they had been sexually assaulted. The individuals involved were 3 men and Bockley, who was the mother of 1 and the grandmother of 3 victims in this case. 3 males identified were 30-year-old Mickey Cagle, 39-year-old Eric Garcia, and 50-year-old Danny Hicks. Bockley is the final of the 4 defendants to be sentenced. The children report that the sexual abuse occurred over a period of time and included Bockley and the men and even involved bestiality. They report that they were given alcohol and assaulted. The Nye County District Attorney's Office says that warrants executed by the Nye County Sheriff's Office were done 45 days after the investigation began. District Attorney Chris Arabia says he believes that gave the suspects time to cover their tracks and destroy evidence. The evidence provided to his office by the Sheriff's Office did not support what the suspects were arrested for. Arabia had even learned that evidence was being deleted remotely from one of the cell phones belonging to a suspect in this case. That phone was in the custody of the Sheriff's Office at the time. Bockley took a plea deal for 2 counts of child abuse and neglect or endangerment. She can receive 12 to 72 months for each charge and a $5,000 fine. The district attorney is asking for the time to run consecutively.
If we look at the original charges that the state filed, these are absolutely heinous allegations. However, we need to look at what she ultimately pled to, which is 2 counts of child abuse, neglect, or endangerment first offense. Each of those are a probationable category B 1 to 6. She is eligible for probation for these cases, which is ultimately what we're going to be asking for today.
I have suffered a lot in my 51 years, most of it really bad, though I have survived it by the will and grace of God. If I had known what was happening, I would have dealt with it appropriately.
The reality is her children said she was aware, and she got up and all she talked about was herself. The horrors that these kids were exposed to, were inconceivable to me prior to being assigned to this matter. So again, the state is requesting that she be sentenced to the crimes that she's pled guilty to and that those sentences be run consecutively. Yeah, she might have rehabbed herself since she's been charged, but she wasn't thinking about rehabbing herself when her children and grandchildren were going through these traumas.
Eric Garcia accepted a plea deal and pled guilty to lewdness with a child under 14 years old and unlawful use of a minor under 14 producing pornography. He was sentenced to 20 years to life. Mickey Cagle got 28 to 72 months after pleading guilty to possession of child pornography, and Danny Hicks pled guilty to 1 count of child abuse, striking a child. He received probation after serving 1.5 years in jail. In the end, Judge Robert Lane sentenced Bockley to the maximum allowed in this case.
Ms. Bockley stood up and made one of the most common defenses that we see throughout our entire nation, through our society today. I'm the victim. I'm the victim here. I need therapy now and counseling. Don't forget about the kids and the other guys in this that did these horrendous crimes. What about me? She's not the victim in this. Those children are. What she did was horrendous. In the old breast, they just strung her up, along with the other co-defendants. She's got a lot of credit for time served, and even with the max sentence, she's not going to be serving as long as she should. She got a great break from the DA. I'm going to max her 28 to 72 on each count. That's the maximum sentence, and run consecutive to each other. Give her credit for 929. And remand her into custody